Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Detroit Red Wings franchise mode here in NHL 21. So in last episode, we started up the season simulation after having free agency and also trading away one of our players in Bullion to the Islanders. And yeah, our team is off to a very bad start. It might be one of our worst starts of this entire franchise mode, maybe since we were like rebuilding and whatnot. We're 13, 20, and 7 on the season. This team just has not been able to get it together offensively, I think it was, and then also we haven't been the strongest in terms of goaltending right now, but yeah, it's not looking good for our chances to actually make the playoffs, because if you look at the Metropolitan Division, the last wildcard spot has 47 points, while we go to our division, we're down there at 33 points, and the last playoff team in our division has 50 points. So we're literally like way out of a playoff spot, so it's best that we're probably going to start flipping away some pieces to start going into a little bit of a rebuild again, and see how this team could do in terms of the offseason, getting some good more draft picks in. Like, Dika is definitely the future of this team, but I do still think we should probably keep guys like Matthews and Dingman around, and probably like Garrison, obviously, because he's one of the younger pieces, Pow too. It's more guys like DeKaiser, I think, could be on his way out. Corbin's probably one of these guys we don't re-sign. And then Hobbs is still somebody I would like to keep around because he's relatively young. Cole, somebody that I would definitely get rid of in free agency. Alexandrov is still young, so we do still have some young pieces that are on our team to build around, but there is some veteran guys like DeKaiser who I think we could get rid of. Even though DeKaiser is a very solid player, he's not a super great fit for our entire team, so we probably will be trading him away in this episode just to tank it a little bit more. As for our defense, though, I really would like to keep Wall here till the end of his career because obviously he deserves to be. He's probably going to be retiring within the next 1 to 2 years, and he will be a lot cheaper going into next season. And then Stewart's going to probably stay around as well because I like Jose Stewart around a lot. And Biggs is obviously somebody as well that should stay here with his team. And then if we go to our other defensemen, so Korea and then Punos, for example, those two guys are definitely guys that I wouldn't have to keep around. Stapleton's definitely a part of the future, so I would like to keep him around if possible. But yeah, that's pretty much what I have planned. Obviously, Stevenson's definitely a big part of our future as well. While Francis Nguyen isn't. Francis Nguyen will probably just get... I don't know if... Well, we can't drop him really to free agency, so he might be our backup still next year's season, but still. So we do have pieces we can move away if we want to. But for now, I think we have actually a decent roster of younger guys for next season. Like I said, Dika being the main piece of this futuristic rebuild, I guess you could say, because we don't have a lot of time left before this franchise mode fully ends. So anyways, before we get simulating and maybe make a trade, we do have a few comments to go over. So the first one is from HawksFan88. He says, it looks like it's going to be a tough season. I think it might be smart to move away some of the older players to improve your chances at a good pick. And that's where I referred to Dick Kaiser as being one that I'd part with, because Walden really deserves to retire here. And then Biggs, Matthews, and Dingman still are good pieces to hold on to, and they deserve probably to retire here as well. Because if we go to our record book, we haven't actually taken a look at this in a long time. Probably since the beginning. I'll show all this probably in the last season as well. But as you can see, Caden Matthews is currently our all-time leader in points. Season-wise, Wall's been here 16 seasons already, which is pretty crazy. Matthews leads in assists. Wall leads in games played with 1,235. He might end up beating Gordie Howe if he stays a lot longer, but I don't think he will. And then Caden Matthews is up there in penalty minutes. Francis Nguyen is up there in all-time shutouts for our team. And in wins is Francis Nguyen with 74, and Amir DeKaiser has 270. So that's kind of crazy that our goaltending situation, at least, we've never had a goalie that's had over 100 wins with the Detroit Red Wings like Rohan House. I think, yeah, we traded him away before that happened. So, but yeah, I'll just scroll through these a little bit so you guys can see some of the rookie records and all that. So yeah, we've never broken an all-time team record, which is like means we've never had more than 56 saves in a game. Obviously, it's going to be hard to get a player to have 7+ points and 6 goals as well as records. So, but yeah, I thought I'd show you guys that a little bit. If you guys want to see all the other team records and stuff like that, like I said, I could probably do a recap of that in one of the final seasons. But yeah, I don't know for now. And then the last comment is from Half Silly. He says, "Where does the sidewalk end in the series?" So he's talking about when does the series end. So I know I've been kind of dragging it out since the beginning of NHL 21, but it's mainly because like I would like to keep consistent uploads, and also because I don't really have plans for another franchise mode series until NHL 22 drops. So I would like to keep this series going on as long as possible. But if you guys are starting to get a little bit bored of the series, I could try and end this series before I go on my trip to like Nova Scotia and stuff like that. And in that way, you guys, then that way I don't have to upload as much while I'm gone. And then also I could do like a recap when I get back from Nova Scotia and whatnot, or something like that. And yeah, maybe it'll make it a little bit easier for you guys to like get through the last little bit of the series. But like the only thing is we aren't going to be a contender by the end of that if that is the case. So it's up to you guys if you guys want to see me go for another cup run, or if you guys would rather the series just end as soon as possible. Because if it does end, then we'd have to just do my Atlanta series and then my Tiger series in MLB for probably the rest of up till NHL 22 drops, because I don't think I could do another franchise mode series in between. So I think I'll probably keep this series running just because I need to have something to upload as well. But you guys can let me know down below. But anyways, let's get maybe making a trade, because I was looking at some potential trades for the Kaiser, as I was mentioning. So there is a couple pieces that I thought were interesting. There's only a few teams that actually want them, that could afford them, because a lot of teams are over the cap hit. And obviously I do not want to take back salary to an extent, because if I take back salary, then I'm just like, it's not really helping our rebuild to an extent. But as you can see, De Kaiser's making 10.975, so a little bit expensive. His value isn't that high, but it's still decent enough to get us a top 6 prospect, I think. So we are going to trade him to, I think, what were the teams that I wrote down? So there's Boston, for example, we could trade him to, but Boston doesn't really want him. But they do have this interesting prospect in, was it Albrecht? Yeah, it was Albrecht. This guy's a 78 overall at 21. He's playing in the AHL for some reason, but this guy's a really good shooter, it seems like, because he's gotten, or actually he's not playing in the AHL, he's in the NHL, 9 goals in 39 games, which is pretty good. So yeah, this guy's more of a shooter, but I wouldn't say he's the best type of player, but he's got really weird attributes, but he simulates decently. He does fit our second line and penalty kill lines, which is also pretty good, but I don't know if we're going to trade for him. We might. There's also a couple other pieces. So Vancouver had interested, or they have guys like Fiddler who are interesting, who's a 77 and 19. This guy was drafted just last year, I think it was, at 11th overall. And yeah, he looks like he's going to be a pretty good player as well. He's a centerman, is playing pretty good in the AHL right now, almost point per game at 18 years old. So we could always trade for somebody like him, but we do have Belanger in the system that we got from the Islanders in the Bouillon deal, so we don't technically need another center prospect right now. Well, we always could, but we don't necessarily need it. Now, the one that was really intriguing to me, I guess, would be the defenseman. So they have Hartikainen, who's a 78 overall defenseman and 20 years of age in the AHL. Technically, he is a big piece of their future, but they do have also Zetterberg, so they don't technically need this guy, I don't think. This guy would probably be the best option because we don't really have a lot of defenders in terms of our prospect pool. This guy's also an offensive defenseman, so we could bring him in, play him in the AHL or play him in the NHL right away. I don't know, because we do have guys that we could drop down in stuff like that. So I think Hartikainen might be the best option, but I don't really know if we could trade for him because Hartikainen's got a little bit more value than De Kaiser. Like, the only way we could probably get this to go through is if we add in like a late round pick. We do have 2 4th rounders, one we acquired from the Islanders, so I could always throw in that in, and I think that should get the deal done. I think it should get it done. So let's try this. De Kaiser in the 4th for the defenseman Hartikainen, and that's accepted. Perfect. So we get a good defensive prospect, and I think that guy's going to be pretty good. And all it took was giving up De Kaiser and a 4th round pick. So Hartikainen, I think we'll keep in the AHL for now, just because, yeah, I think we'll probably use him in the AHL. Let me just go best lines in the NHL for the time being, and let me just go. Actually, I should go and send him down. Yeah, I need to send him down first, Hartikainen. because even though he's almost like an NHL ready defenseman, we'll be under the salary cap if we send him down, which means we got to call up. But we're probably going to call up Belanger, I think, down the stretch. Yeah, I'm going to call up Belanger down the stretch. I think that doesn't work either. How does that not work? That's the exact same cap. That is a little weird. Because literally it's one... Oh, it's a little tiny bit less. Wow, okay, so we might have to call up, like, Barry or something. Yeah, we could always call up this young defenseman, Quincy Barry. Does he go through waivers if we had to send him back down? Yeah, he does. That's unfortunate. Or maybe I'll call up Bergier, actually. Yeah, we'll call up Bergier, because Bergier is making $3 million bucks. And I think that should be good. I think I also want to give Belanger an opportunity, though. Maybe. And then we could send down somebody else. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'll leave it like that. We'll go best lines on the AHL again. And then go back to the NHL and just take a look at scratched. I should probably still put in Stephen Cole. And I need to readjust these lines a little bit again. I don't want Dika on the fourth line. I think Dika's going to play third line now, though. Just because Dika needs to develop a little bit more. And Corbin's going to play down there. Yeah, our team looks a lot weaker since moving to Kaiser, because now we don't really have that elite left winger on that top line. You know what? Yeah, we could give Corbin the opportunity, I think. No, he's actually a better fit on the second line. Timothy Acker, we'll play him on the top line. I know it sounds weird, but we'll play him on the top line. And I think I will take Alexandrov, take Hills out of the lineup, actually. Yeah, we should probably put Cole back up. Yeah, do something like this. So Cole, Hobbs, and Dika, Corbin, Powell, and Garrison, and then Digman, Matthews, and Acker. Since Timothy Acker actually has really good shooting, I think he could do pretty decent on that top line. And then our defensive core, obviously, will go back to the way it was. Yeah, we'll go something like that. And goalies will still stay like that. And depth is going to be those two defensemen and one forward, I think. Yeah. So that's what we'll run with. Let me just make sure nobody's scratched in the AHL. That's important. Nope. Okay, we're good to go. Let me just check the defensive pairing. So Hardikainen's playing on the top pairing. That is good for me. Oh, there's the chemistry. Okay, good. We got to make sure everything is good to go. So, yeah, Hardikainen should be the best defensive prospect now we have. Excited to see what he could do once he gets to the NHL level, because he's got some pretty good offensive attributes. So, I think that was a good deal to make. And yeah, let's simulate the rest of the season. We'll probably go up to the trade deadline and past the trade deadline. But hopefully this team continues to drop off. Like, hopefully we don't have like a second half of the season surge, because that's happened before. But because we traded away to Kaiser, so we shouldn't do that good. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention I actually offered contracts to a bunch of scouts, because we were really low on scouts and it's kind of hurted us the last few drafts. So I've signed a bunch of scouts while I wasn't recording, so I will have to adjust where they are all located once they all accept. Just because we need to have good scouting if we're going to be a bad team, right? So let's go to the scouts and assign scout, just because I want to make sure these guys are in the right locations. So we don't have two Russian ones. I think Kovalev, I got him for, where was it that I got him from? The DEL, yeah. So we're going to, how do I move him again? Oh yeah, I haven't moved a scout in a long time, so let's go to the DEL for you. Yep, DEL, it's good. What else we got here? So DEL, that's good, that's good, that's good. Some of these OHL ones I think were for like the WHL. Or not the WHL, like for America. Yep, USA East on Plant. Change region. But yeah, hopefully we can get a good prospect in, and hopefully these scouts help us out, because like I said, last year when we drafted, we did not have good enough scouting, and it was kind of hard to tell who was going to be the best of the players. So what else we got here? Sort this by that again. We don't have a USA West, which means Hamilton is probably USA West. A minus. Yeah, it probably was him. Yeah, it definitely was him. And then we're pretty much good to go once we get him changed to the USA West. USA and West. Perfect. So that should help us out in terms of our prospect scouting. It probably won't help us out that much because we only have like 3 months left of the regular season, but it will be a lot better than it was last year, because last year was literally like, I think the entire first round almost was completely blank. So let's go to February the 1st, see how we simulate this month. As Alexandrov goes down, we'll go replace player because that will put in Hillis, Wayne Lavin. Oh, that's a 23-year-old defenseman that fits our top 6. That's not too bad, but I don't think I should be claiming everybody's picks. I don't like claiming players. Not that much, at least. I don't know why Colorado's spending a lot of players on waivers. Jeez, this guy's a 75 overall, and he was playing in the NHL. I don't know how we beat Buffalo 9-2, though. It's kind of weird. Let's replace Korea. We're winning actually a lot of decent games down the stretch. I don't understand why the case is, because we just traded away one of our better players. So why is Alexandrov dropping? Ice time. That makes sense. What can we do to get Alexandrov happy? I don't really know what we could do to make Alexandrov happy, unless I went something like... No, I don't think I want to do that. I could always put him on the penalty kill. No, I don't know what I could do with him, really, to be honest. We'll just let him lose morale, because I honestly have no idea what I could do with Alexandrov, as Punovs goes down with an injury. We're getting slammed with injuries this entire series, I think. At least, well, this season. So who was it that was back? Punovs, and Korea's almost back to full health as well, so we'll put Punovs back in on the top pairing. Actually, Regear's a +3 up there. That's pretty good. Interesting. Maybe we should have been playing Regear all along instead of Punovs on that top pairing. Okay. So we are almost near the end of the month. We got a couple more games to simulate through. Korea is back, which is good. We could take Semenov out of the lineup. There you go. And yeah, 2 more games. New Jersey and St. Louis this month. We win one, and we are going to lose the other. So we're now 17, 25, and 8. So we've been getting a little bit better, I would say, but we're still way out of the playoff spots, so it's unlikely that we're going to actually make the playoffs, because the last wildcard spot has 59 points, and we have 42 points, so we're literally 17 points back. Yeah, that's not going to happen for sure. Caden Matthews has now got 43 points in 50 games. Let's continue to simulate up to the trade deadline. I don't think we're going to be making any more trades, because there's not really anybody I want to trade away, because I'm kind of impartial to moving guys like Matthews and Dingman and stuff like that, because I don't really want to go into a full rebuild. Like, I kind of want to go through maybe more of a retooling phase, because we do have some good prospects in the AHL that could jump into our lineup maybe next season, even like Schumacher and whatnot. So Michael Wong is back. But yeah, some of these guys definitely have to leave. Like Michael Wong maybe at some point does, even though he's only 26, because he was losing morale. We're now 19, 32, and 10, so that was a really bad month. And we only won 2 games. Yeah, only 2 games during that entire month. Let's get into the deadline. I'm not going to probably make any more trades, but let's just go in as a seller and see what is out there. It's putting like bigs and stuff on the block, but I'm not going to be trading for that. Yeah, I honestly don't think we're going to be making any trades, unless I get offered something intriguing. Let's just take a look quickly at what's available. It's mostly veteran based, so I think, which is something we don't really need. There's a defensive prospects in Simmons, who's not terrible, but he's probably not going to pan out. Who knows? Oh, there's a trade. Buffalo made a trade. They send that defensive prospect we were just literally looking at in Schofield to Toronto for 2/3 and Doan. Oh, there's a forward prospect. Top 6 forward, 72 overall, 18 years of age. That's not a bad one, but I don't really know what I have to give up for something like that. He's definitely going to be probably dealt by the end of the deadline now. He's a power forward, which is intriguing. 19th overall pick. Let me just go to the trade finder and see what Colorado would. Oh, they just traded him away, actually. Wow. I don't understand this game sometimes. Like, the AI literally trades so fast. Like, you can't even keep up with it almost to an extent. Like, they might need to slow it down a little bit for NHL 22. But yeah, I don't think I'm going to be making any trades. Because I think the only trade we were going to make was that DeKaiser deal. Montreal's made a trade. Yeah, there's like nothing at all. 70 medium elite sniper? That's 21 years old. That's intriguing. I don't think I really have the assets though to move out for somebody like that though. But we could always check. Because it's a 21-year-old medium elite though, that's the only thing. But he does still have value. We'd have to give up Phil Powell, a third and a fourth. So no, I don't think I'd be willing to do that. Yeah, I don't think I'd be willing to do this. Powell, a third and a fourth, I don't know. Because Powell has been pretty good for us, and then Gerard is already 21. It's an intriguing offer, but I don't know. Because this guy's playing in the AHL, and what does his attributes look like? They're not really anything fancy. So he's probably not going to become that great. And I would rather keep, I think, yeah, Phil Powell's been good this year. So, yeah, I'm not going to do that deal. And I don't feel like giving up picks, especially when we're trying to rebuild a little bit. So, yeah, we're not going to do that deal. But, yeah, I think we're not going to make any trades. There's not enough prospects on the block. And that is it. Okay, so, yeah, let's get out of this. No trades at the deadline, but we did get rid of DeKaiser, so that's decent. Medvinov on waivers. 32-year-old, though. Jeez. Okay, so yeah, we're now bottom of our division. This is great to see. This is like the first time I've seen us bottom of the division, but that means our chances at getting the top pick this year are exponentially increasing, which is great. Because if we could get the first overall pick this year and it's a good player, our team is going to be able to rebuild a lot faster. So let's get the rest of the season done just as fast as possible. And yeah, we're definitely going to miss the playoffs this year. Apparently the owner goals were actually to increase our players, get our players better. But yeah, that's not going to happen because this team is not a playoff team. Not even close yet. Timothy Acker is back. That's good news. Damn, Hills actually has some good chemistry on that top line. But yeah, our left side is our weakest side right now. But once Dika starts doing really well, it won't be that bad. And we are going to finish the season 25, 45, and 12, which I think is one of our worst years ever. And we are the worst in our division with 62 points. And that is the worst team, tied for the worst team in the league, but we have way less wins. So we're the worst team in the NHL at the end of the season, which is really good. We have the best chance to get first overall, but knowing us, we'll probably fall back to third overall or something. Let's take a look at our player stats for the season and as well as the team stats. And then we'll take a look, or we'll sim up to the draft already and see what we could potentially get with our pick and whatnot. So Phil Powell led us in points this year, which is kind of surprising. 67 points from him, minus 12 was his best year of his career. Like that from Phil Powell. Matthews really dropped off in production, 59 points and even 0. It could be because we got rid of DeKaiser, but he is dropped down to an 83 randomly. And it's not to do with ice time. It's probably statistical drop off or something. But I don't know why he dropped down to an 83. 83 first line forward. That's a little strange. Should be better next season though, hopefully. Hobbs 25 points in 82 games, a minus 20 for Hobbs. That's not good. And then Jaskalainen had 21 points. That's not too bad of a signing. He is a little bit older, so he might not come back, but he's a decent face-off man for that fourth line. Just because we'll probably replace him with like Belanger for next year. Left wing wise, Corbin had 41 points, so he was given a little bit more ice time and he started developing well, but his plus minus is still really bad, so that's not good. Dika 36 points in his first season, so he picked it up a little bit down the stretch. It looks like 19 goals and 17 assists, so maybe he will have like a 30-something goal season next year, but not a bad rookie season from him. His plus minus isn't great. He's actually not really a great fit for our team, so we might need to look for maybe a better coach that could work better for Dika. I don't know. But Dika really gets along with Dingman and Matthews, which is kind of interesting. Acker, 18 points, not too bad. 16 goals and 2 assists, so this guy's actually a pretty good scorer to play alongside like Matthews and whatnot. Huh, interesting. Maybe he stays in the lineup next year because of the amount of goals he can score. Wong had 15 points, and Hillis had 6 points in 12 games. George Hillis is a really good depth option. Really like him still. Right wing wise, Dingman had 60 points. That's pretty solid, but still his production's dropping off a lot too. Garrison, 55 points. That's pretty solid from him. Yeah, he's had a pretty solid career so far. And Cole, 27 points. Alexandrov, 21 points. Not terrible, but not bad either. Biggs, 43 points. That's pretty solid. Yeah, pretty good season for Biggs. Not as good as last year, but still. Punov's in his only season probably with us. 35 points and a -8. Oh my god, Wall's defensive awareness is going down the tubes. Wall was a -28 this season. Yikes. Gets moved from the top pairing to the second pairing, and his plus minus takes a huge hit. Only 19 points this year as well. Yeah, Wall might retire at the end of this year, who knows. Which, if that is the case, we should probably take a look at his career numbers to an extent. 689 points in 1,277 games, 57 points in 103 playoff games, and preseason 68 points in 112. Oh, if he retires, that's going to be sad. He's a 79 now. So, yeah, he might not even crack our lineup next year if he's not retired. Stapleton, 16 points. Correa, 12 points. Stewart was a -16. That is horrible to see Stewart being a minus player because that was only the second time he's been a minus player. And he's dropped down to a 76, and it's probably, yeah, it's all individual performance based. Man, this team is not looking good right now. This is like looking like a disaster hit it. And then Semenov, 1 goal. Regier, nothing. Goalie wise, Stevenson was not terrible. He had a 900 save percentage, but the 3.12 isn't great. And Francis Nunes' backup was really bad. Oh, that's not good. Let's take a quick look at the entire league. Can't talk right now for some reason. Kukkonen had 137 points for Buffalo. My God. 70 goals. Jeez. Yeah, this guy's nuts. 70 goals. When was the last player to score 70 goals? I have no idea even. Damian Hamilton had 66 goals for Buffalo, or not Buffalo, for the Rangers. That's his 4th straight season where he's had 60-plus goals. There's some really crazy players in this franchise mode. Jeez. Best defenseman this year for points was Yolonen in Philadelphia. Hoffman in the Islanders was there, 74. And Teratukin in Calgary. Best goalie this year for wins is going to be Wesley Keith of the Washington Capitals with 51 wins. That is impressive. Rohan House was up there with 38 wins this year. Most shutouts by a starting goalie was Fabian Arcobello with 7 shutouts this year for Philadelphia. Best save percentage by a starter was also Fabian Arcobello with a 916. So apparently goalies are not doing too good in this. And best goals against average by a starter was Fabian Arcobello. So Fabian Arcobello, even though he started 70 games, is probably going to be your Vezina winner. And the best rookie this year for points was Melvin Emery, who went 2nd overall, so a little bit before our pick. He had 78 points in 82 games. But then you go to Hanyola. This guy was also really good, 56 points in 82 games. Not as much points-wise, but he had a good shooting percentage at 19.2%. And then the top pick, who was Valahari, who was a franchise guy, 55 points. And then as you can see down here is where Dika was. So those top 4 prospects, all from the draft, all had pretty good rookie seasons in terms of goal scoring. Let me just take a look at the shooting percentage-wise. Yeah, Hanyola was the best at shooting percentage, almost shot 20%. But if we go down here, yeah, it looks like we didn't have a good shooting percentage from Dika. Yeah, Dika only shot 9.1%, which is not good enough. But yeah, that's pretty much that. And yeah, we are good to simulate up now to the retirements in the draft class and all that stuff. Find out where we're drafting. I don't even know what the prospects still look like really that much for this year. So it's going to be interesting to see if there's a franchise player after we find out the draft lottery results. So, and we also have to take a look at the awards. So this episode might be a little bit long, and I apologize about that, but it is what it is. So I wonder if our AHL team could do good this year because they are in the playoffs, I think. At least they should be, because they have a really good roster. It looks like they might have got eliminated if they did make the playoffs because I haven't seen a notification in a bit. Yep. So Tampa's going to win the Stanley Cup and Cleveland wins the Calder Cup. So our rivals in Tampa Bay win the Stanley Cup in the 2037-38 season. Let's take a look actually at their roster before we get into the awards, because I'm kind of curious on who was on their team, if there was any former players of ours. So they had Wilm from Colorado, Schremp, Enroth. So a lot of the guys that we faced over the years were on that Tampa team still. Sylvain Rayome, who we used to have briefly. Yeah, briefly wins the Stanley Cup in Tampa Bay. Good to see that, I guess. You know, I don't want to see Tampa win the cup in this. And Haynes and Marlowe. Damn, we should have probably brought in Lincoln Marlowe as our backup. So there you go on that front. And let's take a look at those individual awards. I don't think we have anything, but still. So Washington won the President's Trophy. And it was in Anaheim and Tampa Stanley Cup Finals. So Rohan House has been to 3 Stanley Cup Finals since going to Anaheim. And he's won 2 of them. Man, Rohan House is so good. So Kukkonen wins the Art Ross and the Hart. Taratukin wins the Norris. Cooper wins the Bing. Emery wins the Calder, not a surprise. Wilm wins the Conn Smythe. Arcobello the Vesna. House won the Jennings. Congrats, Rohan. Prospel wins the Masterton. Robitaille for Vegas wins the Adams. Kukkonen wins the Selke. He wins the Lindsay. And he wins the Maurice Richard. So Kukkonen had like 5 awards that year for Buffalo, so not a surprise we didn't win anything. And Bullion won some awards in the AHL because I think it was the Islanders were over the cap hit or something, and that's why he was in the AHL. But apparently Nicholas Allen and Alexander Turkov were the best goalies in the AHL, so that's really good to see. Interesting. So that is that. Now we got to sim up to the draft lottery results and all that in the retirements. Hopefully we could stay with the first. Actually, I didn't take a look at the team stats. Almost forgot about that. I didn't take a look at how low in the standings everybody finished. So, yeah, we were way near the bottom, right? We were the bottom, right? Yeah, we were the worst team in the NHL. And goals for per game, we were the second worst. Yeah, tied for the second worst offensively. Goals against per game, though, wise, we were actually one of the better defensive teams. We were around the mid-table, so that's really impressive. But we just didn't score enough. And our power play was dead last in the NHL. Our penalty kill was one of the best in the NHL. It's kind of weird seeing the best penalty kill being one of the worst, or the worst team in the NHL. So yeah, we just needed to work on our offense a bit. We weren't scoring enough. And that was the main reason why we didn't make the playoffs or anything, or didn't win enough games. Let's continue to simulate, and there's the draft lottery results, and we fall from 1 to 4. That is a heartbreaker. Now, I mean, we could try and trade up if we really need to, but why does this game always hate when you have the first overall pick? Like, I swear to God, you never get the first overall pick if you have the best odds. Columbus moves from 3 to 1. Boston moves from 5 to 2. Chicago moves from 4 to 3. That is so dumb. But at least we have the 4th overall pick, so we're going to get another good prospect, but I would still rather the top pick. Let's take a look at retired players. Did we lose anybody? I don't think so. Unless Wall is down here somewhere. Former player Lucas Raymond retires. Interesting. Same with Isaac Lundestrom. I think we had him briefly, right? Or am I thinking of somebody else? And I don't know if we had Lundestrom, did we? No, we did for 1 year. Felt like so long ago. Ryan Suzuki, another former player of ours. One of our first trades we made in this franchise mode was for him. Scroll through this a little bit more. Moritz Seider retires. Elijah Petrovic retires at 34. Damn. Good former player of ours. He was also a pretty good trade acquisition. I think we made quite a few years back. But it looks like we did not lose anybody. Xavier Jenner already retires as well. Interesting. Former 7th round pick. Barely got the play after leaving us. And the rest are just no-name guys, pretty much. Goalie-wise, the best goalie retired this year is Tucker Tynan, and that's pretty much that. So we did not lose anybody to retirement, right? Unless I missed somebody. Nope, we did not lose a single player to retirement, which means Wall might come back again next year, but he might drop off a lot, so he might be in the AHL. We did lose a Grand Rapids coach, that's it. And continue simulating. Let's take a look at what that draft class looks like, and also our contract situation and progress reports, and then that'll be it for this episode, because we're already at like 35 minutes. So we have the 4th overall pick, which means we could probably get a defenseman. That's not bad, actually, because we do need defenders. So, I mean, if we wanted to, we could try and move up to get a 1st overall pick like Gaspard LeBlanc, but I don't think it's really necessary. There's also a sniper that might go 1st overall that's looking like a really good player in Christoph Schmidt. And then, like, since we have the 4th overall pick, we're going to probably have a choice between either Whitman, Samson, Thorne, or we could go Yui, but Yui's top 6. So I think we got to go with probably either Samson or Thorne, which in this case, it looks like Samson's the better of the two. But we get a medium elite defensive defenseman, which will help us out a lot, I think, because if we get the left-handed one playing next to Biggs, though, is the thing. Then we got an elite defensive defenseman playing with an elite offensive defenseman. But Biggs is getting older, so it doesn't really matter, I guess, on the handedness. But either way, we should have a nice defenseman that jumps into our roster, I think. Let me just take a look for like any low elites. If there's anybody I should pin. This guy's definitely not a franchise player, but let's see, any low elites. No, there was a potential couple. Let's just take a look at these guys. Not too bad, actually, from Adam Collins. He might not be that bad. What about Brett McKenzie? Not really. But yeah, it should be interesting to have another high up pick in this year's draft, and hopefully it helps speeds up our rebuild a little bit. And then goalie-wise, for goalie prospects, not really a good draft for goalies. Well, Cyphers looks actually intriguing, but he's a fringe starter, so let's take a quick look at those progress reports, see who's developing. So yeah, Belanger is probably going to be in our lineup next season, which is good to see. And yeah, that's pretty much that. In the system-wise, we are getting some development from Seal Fido. Lutzer's getting development. Hardikainen should probably be in the NHL this season. Yeah, he had 30 points in 44 games with us in Grand Rapids. Yeah, this guy's probably going to be playing on the top 6 next year. Like him and whatever defensive defenseman we bring in actually might work really well, because Hardikainen's an offensive defenseman, so that's probably something we'll run with on our top 6. Is Hardikainen and maybe one of that right-handed defenseman. Schumacher is getting closer to being NHL ready, which is good. And yeah, that's pretty much that. Let me take a quick look at how Belanger played in the AHL, because I didn't actually take a look at how he did. 37 points in 76 games, not too bad. Okay, so that is that. It looks like Stevenson got some statistical drop-off and some natural growth. Interesting. Let's take a quick look at the contract situation, and then that'll be it for this episode. We'll probably have a lot of free up cap space for the offseason. But Pau needs a contract, which I think he definitely could get one. He wants $9 million, which is like a lot of money for a guy like this, but might be worth it. Punos, I don't think, comes back. Stewart definitely has to come back, I think. He wants a lot of money as well. Wall wants $6 million, even though he just put up only like 18 points, which is kind of skeptical, but it probably will change by the time we get to the re-sign stage. But Corbin probably won't come back. Hobbs probably will come back. Stapleton will. Cole probably won't. And so on like that. Scroll through that. And goalie-wise, the only one that's up is McLeod. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Detroit Red Wings franchise mode. So in next episode, we will take it to the draft. We could move up if you guys think it's necessary, or we'll probably pick up one of those defensive defensemen, because we do need a defensive defenseman of the future. And yeah, let me know what you guys think down below, and I'll see you guys next time.